Well, good evening, WNBA and women's basketball fans. And like normal, welcome into the WNBA 365 network, your 24/7 365 comprehensive home for everything revolving around the WNBA, and in this case this evening, the women's basketball universe. On Selection Monday, this is the WNBA 365 2016 March Madness Bracketology show, and with such a big show, folks, not only are we going a little bit past our hour time frame, coming on a bit late, but also with a sensational six in the starting lineup this evening. Joined tonight, of course, by Eric Nemchok, the great writer from today's Fast Break in Elmhurst, Illinois. And joining us as well this evening is Reagan Patrick in Chicago this evening on spring break. And, of course, the El Nino crew up the five from me in Los Angeles, Tanisha Stewart and Crystal Thomas. And, of course, Cal McClurg in studio from Studio 171 in San Diego. Also accompanied tonight, folks, in the hang-up by one of our good friends on Twitter and one of the newest members of our starting lineup and off the bench subs. That is our good pal, Cian Ransom, joining us from Indianapolis, Indiana. Everyone, good evening. Happy Selection Monday. March Madness is here. How's it going tonight? Good to see you.
Hey, ready for the bracket challenge?
Got my gear on, repping my team.
I'm still looking for my bracket, but I'm good. It got stuck. It was on my thing, but it's stuck now.
So with that, folks, it's such a big show, of course, this evening. Again, we're going to go a little bit past our hour time frame. Today, of course, we came on about 5 minutes late tonight, so we can make sure we can have all of our brackets in place. There's plenty of time, though, of course, for interaction on Twitter and in our chat box. You hit up any one of our handles. Of course, it's at WNBA365, at Calamac3, at ShortyMamba24, at _rap24, that's R-A-P, at Pup1010 or at Nimshockey, and CN's handle is at PT_Coach Ransom. And please include the hashtag WNBA365, but also, of course, hit the live chat box. We'll get to your commentary during tonight's extended edition of our program. Of course, guys, 4 o'clock Pacific hits today. And, of course, we are glued to ESPN and ESPNU for a bit to catch the selection show, of course, guys. Bracket in front of me now with some dim lighting in here. Of course, #1 seeds, we were probably, as Shorty said on Twitter, though, go figure, no surprise. Whatever you want to say, of course, UConn, South Carolina, Baylor, and Notre Dame, the 4 seeds across the regionals in Bridgeport, Dallas, Sioux Falls, and Lexington. Shorty, starting with you first and foremost, we'll have a generic question to everyone before we get to our predictions for the opening round going forward. Shorty, real quick, as you look over the entire bracket, of course, the 68 teams in there. Now, sure, we know that on the flip side, we've had a lot of controversy about seeding, about teams that got snubbed or had their bubbles burst on the on Selection Sunday for the men. Shorty, did the committee for this tournament this year for the women, did they get this field of 64 or 68 in your mind right the first time? And if so or if not, your overall take, though, on the committee picking this field of teams to play for the national title in your mind?
I mean, overall, in my opinion, I think that they pretty much got it right for the most part. I mean, during these times, I mean, you can't please everyone, so there are going to be some people here and there upset regardless. If the committee was to get everything perfect, you know, it doesn't matter. People are still going to find something to complain about. I know on my timeline on Twitter, you know, a lot of people were questioning, you know, why did Florida Gulf Coast get left off and things like that. But other than that, like I said, can't please everyone. The committee did their best, and they got it right.
All right, CN, first question for you, or not really first question to you, but on your debut. So, again, you know, you look over everyone that's qualified for this tournament, of course, you see, you know, of course, the regular suitors are in there. Then, of course, the schools that are mid-majors that got in. But do you believe, though, in your mind that did the committee get this field for this tournament right in your mind, yes or no? And your overall thoughts, go for it.
Yeah, for the most part, me and Crystal and Eric were talking earlier, trying to figure out how the hell Indiana got in there and as bad as they have played. But I think for the most part, it looks pretty good to me.
Reagan, obviously, we know that we've missed you a bit, and of course, you know, school, of course, hounding you. But of course, we're glad to have you back on, and of course, hanging out in Chicago. So, again, I'd probably, again, ask Reagan, but again, do you believe, though, that the committee got this field correct and right for this year's tournament? Overall thoughts, go for it.
I don't think they did as bad as the men's people did. So, yeah, in my opinion, they got it right. I'm trying to figure out how Tennessee is still the #7 seed, but
I don't know either.
It is what it is now.
Yeah, we'll get into each matchup in the opening round. Crystal, again, honestly, I think for sure that they got the 4 overall seeds, Connecticut, South Carolina, Baylor, Notre Dame, right. Other than that, they filled the voids with everyone else. But did the committee, though, get the field right for this year's tournament in your mind?
I think so. I mean, who else were they going to put in there? Creighton? I mean, everybody else did well. I mean, I agree with Reagan, though. I think Tennessee is kind of the one that has me scratching my head a bit. But, I mean, they pretty much, for the most part, got it right. You can't make everybody happy. I mean, there's always going to be somebody complaining about something.
You know, Eric, and that was a point, though, that, the great Kentucky men's basketball coach John Calipari brought up on his Dick Vitale-style rant yesterday about, you're going to have people upset about seeding, about location, about the region they're in and whatnot. But I think, though, here that, the committee, I think, got this right for a lot of reasons, other than the fact that we've talked about, the question about, hosting, of having teams that are higher seeds hosting home games at their gyms where it's, against NCAA rules in the men's tournament. But, of course, with this being women, of course, they want to try to get those seats filled and occupied by, by both fans, I guess, deeming neutral site. But did they overall, Eric, in your mind, get this field correct for this year's tournament in your mind?
Yeah, I think they did. And like Shorty said, like John Calipari said, you can't please everybody 100% of the time. I know there are going to be some Minnesota fans who aren't very happy, although toward the end of the season there, I don't think they should be complaining. But just my opinion on that. Florida Gulf Coast, kind of a glaring omission, in my opinion. I probably would have included them. But listen, this is a really hard job, I think, by the committee. They have a hard job, pretty thankless. And, yeah, I would say they definitely got more of it right than they did wrong.
And, folks, of course, we can take your input on any of the topics we've got tonight, including matchup breakdowns and stuff. Again, hit us up on Twitter, like I said, again. You know the handles. If not, you can go and find them on the page or, of course, hit the live chat box, and we'll get to your commentary momentarily. Of course, guys, the bracket, of course, fixated and ready to roll again. First game's coming up sometime very soon, coming up more so over the following couple of weeks is when we'll get things going for the tournament. Of course, men will start tomorrow with the playing games across there. Shorty, as we kind of now go towards bracket, and again, folks, as well, a reminder again, for more information about our network, Tournament Challenge on ESPN.com, go check out the press release we put on the website, again, WNBA365.wix.com/WNBA365. All the ground rules are there. You can only put one bracket in on our group just so we can make it a little easier for me to kind of distribute prizes, of course, which includes the 2 tickets to a WNBA game of your choice and the network trading card sets that we'll have for you sometime during the course of the following weeks after, or if not, we'll get it to you sometime before the end of the year this season. All right, guys, we'll go in now and get our overall thoughts on the on every matchup going forward. Again, we'll be here for a little bit past our normal hour-long discussion. Of course, Shorty, beginning with the first matchup of the tournament right out of the box, of course, first round, is the overall #1 seed of the Connecticut Huskies, of course, coming in like, once again, an unbeaten pace, 32-0, facing a number 16 seed, Robert Morris, at 20-12 in round 1. Shorty, I was out with my mom and dad for my dad's birthday coming up on Wednesday at Outback Steakhouse. We were watching the selection show, and I told both my parents it's not a matter of when UConn wins, but more so what the final score is going to be and how many points they're going to win by. Now, obviously, yes, I'm not going to jump to conclusions as 99% of the nation probably already has for this tournament about putting UConn in that champion spot on their bracket. Where, yes, they have really good odds to kind of, march all the way to the Final Four or the title game before they will probably face some really good competition in the later rounds of the tournament. But obviously, short with this being match 1, is there really any thoughts, I guess, from you on game 1 of the tournament in your mind?
I just want to say, because my heart's so heavy right now, Robert Morrison, at least you got to Robert Morris. Well, at least you guys got to the tournament, the end.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably what everyone's going to say. And obviously, we've seen UConn just, demolish teams. I mean, I'm going to put it in a nice way, kind of, but it's kind of like watching the Globetrotters play the Generals whenever they come to your hometown. Is that they toy with you and then they just, pretty much beat the living daylights out of you. I mean, is there any thoughts about matchup 1 for the tournament between UConn and Robert Morris in your mind?
Butt kicking alert.
Pretty simple.
That's
Reagan,
all I gotta say. Butt kicking alert.
Is it my turn?
Spring break, folks, but she's still doing homework. We love to see that,
No.
though. We feel like rabbits on you.
I'm not doing homework, but I was actually listening. So, Robert Morris, I got them with the upset. No, I'm just kidding. I hope Gino does not upset me this tournament and continue to play his starters during this game. I hope, they don't even need to play the whole game. They don't even need to play 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
Like first quarter.
All they have to do is play the first quarter. I hope he's smart and rests his players, because when he doesn't, it just makes me so upset. I already don't like the guy, but like, why not rest your starters? I'm sorry, I'm getting to a whole different topic.
And I will point out, I love the throwback Grizzly gear. That's nice to see. Crystal, obviously, more so other than your selection and pick for this matchup, what, I guess, would be your thought about how long Gino does play the starters for this first matchup of the tournament in your mind, though, along with your selection for this matchup?
Well, I'm going to say that I am picking UConn for 500, Callan. But at the same time, I mean, I hope he doesn't play in stars, but he's going to. He's going to run up the clock. He wouldn't be Gino. That's Gino. That's the Oriema way. That's the way that Luigi does things. I don't know if I should call him Luigi because I don't know him like that. His name is Luigi. I don't know him like that, but I had a coach that had ties with him, so I know him too, technically. Yeah. But I think Mr. Oriema is going to pretty much use his starters. He's going to play his starters, and he's going to run the clock up. He wouldn't be him if he didn't do that. So he shouldn't. I agree with Reagan. He should sit his starters, but that's not going to happen.
And by the way, Eric, I know that I became Alex Trebek from Jeopardy, but I applaud it. I guess, Eric, any thoughts about the tournament in your mind between UConn and Robert Morris?
I just want to say, Crystal and CN both know that if Robert Morris wins, I called it first.
He did.
Said
As a joke.
Earlier today.
As a joke, but yeah, if they win,
if they win, it's not a joke.
Okay, so it's
a conditional joke.
Robert Morris takes down the big bear, then Eric automatically wins the tickets, I guess. Visiting the chat box, folks, real quick, from our good pal Corey, who's in the chat box. Corey, about Tennessee, real quick. He says Tennessee making it as a 7 seed is right. Compare them to other teams now, not Tennessee teams in the past is what he wants. And also, nobody who didn't make the tournament had much of a case to be in, so there were really no snubs this season in his mind. Moving on, Shorty, to the next matchup, which will feature Seton Hall at 8, 23-8 against, and I do apologize, folks, if I butchered the school's name to high hell, sadly. Duquesne at 27-5, qualifying at the 9 seed. So, Shorty, a couple of evenly matched teams record-wise, but any thoughts about 8 versus 9? Because this, along with 5 and 12, are normally tricky matchups, though, in March Madness on the bracket. What do you think, though?
I mean, like you said, it's sort of a evenly matched matchup right there, regardless of the seeding. So, Seton Hall could very well get upset in this, in my opinion. And even if they, don't, I mean, it really doesn't make much of a difference, in my opinion, because Seton Hall has been somewhat up and down throughout the season. So, regardless of this matchup, it wouldn't be much of an upset. It wouldn't be much of an upset. It wouldn't be much of an upset if Seton Hall were to lose. And Eric, wow.
CN, obviously, the records can kind of speak for themselves. Both teams, obviously, they're separated by, a few games. I apologize. 23-8 against 27-5. I made sure to get the latter here, but, we've had some bad glaring here for the past plays. But CN, okay, so they're still pretty close. Obviously, 4 wins separate 9 from 8. But, of course, like I said, this is always a pretty tricky matchup, both sides of the ball, men or women. But I guess, who do you take, though, in this matchup, in your opinion?
I picked Seton, but I also saw the other team play a couple of times, and they looked pretty good. So it could be, I think it's going to be close. Who wins, I don't know, but I definitely think it's going to be a close game.
Rap, obviously, again, like we said, I mean, I don't know what's trickier when I do March Madness, if it's 8 or 9 or 5 and 12. I think 5 and 12 is one that killed me last year on the men's side. What about you, though, about this matchup for 8 versus 9?
I was talking to Eric earlier, and this 8 and 9 challenge, like, I swear, it's like I had to flip a coin. So, I mean, I ended up picking Seton Hall, but it was tricky.
Yeah, no, like I said, these ones are the ones that always get at me most times. Crystal, what about you, though, for this 8 versus 9 matchup in round 1?
It was close. Like, those are very interchangeable, but I picked Seton Hall as well. I don't know this team's name, so I'm gonna call them Dekwanisha. It was, Seton Hall and Dekwanisha were really close, but I saw more of Seton Hall's games on TV, and I kind of like what that team does. I mean, they're not going to get up to second round because they got to play UConn. If they do go on to beat Dekwanisha in the first round, but I'm going with Seton Hall. I have to go with Seton Hall on that one.
And Eric, for all that I know, Katie was saying that school's name right, but at least I try to get it somewhat close. But again, Eric, 8 versus 9 normally is a sleeper pick. Sometimes you can kind of say. What about you? What do you think?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for the loud and distracting noise. If you can't tell, I'm a little sickly over here. I had to blow my nose. But, frankly, I've never seen this team play because, as the rest of you, I can't even pronounce their name, so I'm not even going to try.
That's why I said the other team.
The team that is not Seton Hall. That is the 9th seed. That starts with a D. Dekwanisha or whatever we're calling it tonight. I'm just going to go with what I saw from Seton Hall in the Big East tournaments. To be honest, they were not that impressive. I think they were they kind of let me down in that tournament. I think that's a tournament they probably could have won. They had the talent to win at least, but they got upset. And I'm not really sure what happened, but their star players did not really play like the star players that they are. And they're going to need to change that because I think this could be a very close game. Granted, I have not seen Dekwanisha play, but based on the seeding, I'll take the committee's word for it, and that this should be a close game.
And to clean up on aisle 365, thank you, Corey, guys. It's actually Duquesne is how you pronounce it.
Oh, my goodness.
Duquesne. I think I said that earlier. I
need to quickly apologize to my good buddy, Dom Eric, who was the PA announcer for Duquesne. I greatly apologize for
sorry.
For not only me, but everyone else.
Sorry.
But when you're a West Coast person like me, it's tough to get everyone's name. But we apologize for that, and again, thanks to Corey for helping out. All right, moving away from that, shortly the next matchup again in round 1 of the Bridgeport region. Again, we've got number 5 Mississippi State coming in at 26-7 against Chattanooga, number 12 overall, 24-7. Shorty, there is one matchup that is always normally what you don't expect is always 12-5. Historically, has always gone to the 12 seed's way. So I would not be surprised if we see Chattanooga beat the number 5 team in Mississippi State. But what about you?
For that matchup, I'm going with Mississippi State. I mean, just from what I've seen from them this season, I mean, they were very solid. Victoria Vivians, oh my goodness, she is one heck of a player. So that matchup, Mississippi State.
All right, so we got me picking Chat. We got Shorty with Mississippi State. Cian, how about you?
I have to go with my partner in crime here and go with Mississippi State.
All right, so we got 2 against 1. Reagan, how about you?
Mississippi State.
Over to you.
This one was actually a hard choice. I was gonna pick Chattanooga, but I had to go with my womanly nature and pick my gut. So I'm going with Mississippi State. I'm going with Mississippi State. I was gonna pick Chattanooga, but my gut said, girl, don't do that. So I said, okay, and I'm going to Mississippi State. So,
Can you do that again? Can you do that thing
Okay,
again?
and Eric, how about you?
Girl, don't do that.
Or Mississippi State. What do you got?
I'm going with Mississippi State.
Okay, so we got one person on board for chat, and that's me, and everyone else is picking against the host, but we can agree to disagree. All right, moving on, guys, to the next matchup in the region. Again, 4 versus 13, Michigan State, 24-8 against a 24-8 Belmont team. So obviously another chance here of a possible one, 4 versus 13. Shorty, evenly matched here again. Obviously, head-to-head records are tied. I think I made my prediction pick on the bottom part of on our tournament challenge. I think I went with Sparty because obviously 4 versus 13, but again, not really sure how they can go forward. But again, even records though, I think it came down for me in regards to either RPI, strength of schedule, or it even came down to points allowed per game on average. What about you?
Michigan State. Going Michigan State for this one.
All right, so we got 2 for Sparty. Cian, how about you?
I went with Spartans for 2 reasons. One, my best friend's like a huge fan, so I always got to give him a little help there. But I actually saw them play in Big Ten, and their 3-2 is that's a fierce zone. Ohio State looked like crap against that, so I think that's going to throw a lot of teams for a loop.
By the way, Rap, you have my full permission to mute anybody.
That's all I
What
need.
about you, though? Sparty versus Belmont. Even records again, but who you got?
I got Michigan State.
KT, how about you?
You can't give her that type of permission. I gotta go with Michigan State. I mean that team is crazy.
Just like around the horn. I love it.
Michigan State. Jeez.
Okay, and Eric, over to you. Michigan State or Belmont again? Even records again, but obviously we've got pretty much everyone on board for Sparty. How about you?
Yeah, count me in on that too.
All right, so everyone going with the Spartans over Belmont, but again, pretty even there again with those records. Again, even Steven at 24-8. Shorty, 6 versus 11 is an interesting matchup. 31-1 Colorado State from the Mountain West, a 11 seed up against number 6 South Florida, 23-9. Shorty, I mean, the record looks good for Colorado State, but again, that mid-major school against South Florida. I mean, I did take CSU in my tournament challenge, but right now on the paper one, just to do it for, bleeps and giggles, right now it's kind of a push.
Bleeps and giggles. I like that.
Pretty ominous, though, for South Florida. But what do you think, though, about this one going forward, again, seeing how dominant Colorado State was in Mountain West, playing in not the strongest mid-major conference in D1 hoops? What do you think?
USF. That's my pick. Courtney Williams is, going to come out. She's going to ball hard like she's been doing all season long. And I actually have USF going pretty far in this tournament, so USF.
Stan, what about you? Again, obviously the record for Colorado State looks good at 31-1, but again, could that possibly lead to disaster in round 1 for catastrophe, perhaps? What do you think, though?
I like USF too. I like the way they play. So that's just I like them, and I don't know the other team, so I go with who I like.
Rap, how about you?
I got USL. Not because of anything. Well, actually, it is. They have more experience against top 25 teams, where Colorado has nothing. Like, they haven't played anyone in the top 25. So, in my opinion, they're not real.
Yeah, Crystal, Reagan's onto something, though. Obviously, the Mountain West is not the strongest mid-major women's basketball conference. It's not like the West Coast Conference or the Pac-12 out here in our neck of the woods. Which is why I think South Florida could easily spoil any plans for the Rams going forward in past round 1. What about you?
I would have to agree with Reagan. I also picked USF. I looked more at their top 25 rankings against higher opponents, and they don't have anything. And also because my gut again told me to. So USF, that's what we're going with.
All right, so I think we're going to have everyone say South Florida. But Eric, what about you?
South Florida.
South Florida going forward. All right, so Shorty, moving on to the next one again for the Bridgeport Regional again. We got number 3 UCLA 24-8, great season against number 14 Hawaii 21-10, getting in from the Big West Conference. So Shorty, obviously UCLA's got some pretty good firepower. Naira Fields on that team, along with Jordan Canada on that roster. Hawaii has always been a pretty predominantly good Big West school on both ends of the floor. Both teams getting in as a 14 seed this year on both ends of the court. Shorty, who do you got? Who do you got though, and why?
UCLA, hands down.
So we got 1 for the Bruins. Ian, how about you?
2 for the Bruins.
All right, Holla for 2 for UCLA. Rap, how about you?
Oh, Canada.
All right, so we got 3 for UCLA. This time I'm assuming it's 4, but what do you think?
Yes, I am picking UCLA. Fight, fight, fight.
All right, so Eric, can you complete the A clap for us and give us UCLA, or are you going to what do you got?
I'll give you UCLA. I can't give you anything else besides that. I can't really top those performances, so just miss the UCLA.
Everyone on the panel taking UCLA in that matchup. All right, so UCLA for that one over Hawaii. Shorty, next matchup again is 7 versus 10. BYU getting in from the West Coast Conference, 26-6 against 21-9, 10-seeded Missouri out of the Big 12 Conference. So again, we have a mid-major school here, Shorty, from the WCC. Against a pretty predominant Big 12 powerhouse conference. What do you think, though, again, seeing mid-major versus, Big Bear conference, basically? What do you got to say?
My pick, BYU.
So we got 1 for BYU in this one. Cian, how about you?
I had to think on this one a little bit, but I picked BYU too.
Okay, so 2 for the folks in Provo. Rap, how about you?
I also had to think on it a little bit. BYU's win over Texas A&M is what sold me, so BYU.
All right, so 3 for BYU. KT, what do you think?
See, I know they always tell you to go with your first answer, but I actually had BYU, but I switched it to Missouri. Honestly, that's going to be a close game, but I think Missouri is going to. I don't know if I'd really call it an upset, but I think Missouri is going to come initially with the upset.
All right, so we got 3 for BYU, 1 for Mizzou. Eric, what do you got?
I'm also going with the upset. I'm going with Mizzou. I think playing in the SEC, pretty tough conference. They didn't really excel in conference play this past season, but I think Mizzou, they're more. They kind of got them primed for tournament play. I'm not sure. Reagan cited the win over Texas A&M. It was impressive for sure, but I'm not sure if BYU has it in them again to do that over another SEC opponent, but we'll see.
Yeah, this one was puzzling for West Conference. We're to round out our Bridgeport regional for this one. We got number 2 Texas coming in at 28 and Alabama State 19-11. Coming in, we saw Texas in the Big 12 pretty much play pretty dominant basketball, and they were really solid this year, of course, with, of course, having Tina Thompson's presence as an assistant coach of the 4 could have possibly helped a bit. And obviously Alabama State from one of the really small Sun Belt WAC conference down there in the southeastern part of the country. Jordy, what do you got here for this one?
I got Texas for this one. It's just, they definitely had a great season. A surprise season. I didn't think they were going to do as good as they did, but they just blew my mind throughout the season. And I think they'll do very well in the tournament. So I'm going with Texas.
All right. So 1 for Hook'em Horns. Cian, what do you got?
Yep, Horns.
2 for Texas. Reagan?
Texas.
There's 3. KT, what about you?
All my exes live in Texas, so why not?
All right, so we got 4. Eric will use the panel. What do you got?
Rock on. Texas.
All right, so all 6 of us have Texas going on to the next round. All right, guys, we'll flip gears and go now to the bottom half of that region, now to the Dallas region beginning as well. Starting off, Shorty, with the number 1 seed Baylor Bears 33-1 against the 16th-seeded Idaho Vandals out of the Big Sky 24-9. So obviously, Shorty, this is another case of David versus Goliath, of course, 1 versus 16 in both tournaments. Usually it winds up in disaster for that 16th ranked team. Shorty, what do you got to say?
Well, all I have to say is Idaho. At least you got the opportunity to play in the tournament, but Baylor all the way.
All right, so there's 1 for Sikkim Bears. Breezy, what about you?
Definitely going with the Bears. Sorry,
right,
Idaho.
2 for the Bears. Rap, what about you?
They have a girl from Memphis on there, so Baylor.
Folks, like I say, number picks are always welcome on our programs. We got 3 for Baylor. KT, what do you got?
I don't know if anybody on Chicago's from Baylor, but I'm going with Baylor. I mean, Idaho. It was nice knowing you guys, but you guys are about to go on an early spring break, so Have fun. Bye.
All right,
Whatever.
Eric, sweep the board and the points again for this round. You got Baylor or you got Idaho? Who you got?
That's a lot of pressure, but I'm going with Baylor.
All right, so I was going to go with the Baylor Bears in that one. All right, Shorty, do another one of those 8 versus 9 matchups for the Dallas region. 8-seeded St. John's, New York, 23-9 against 19-12, 9-seeded Auburn in the tournament for the first time in quite some time after a brief tournament drought. Shorty, St. John's, I think, obviously with them being ranked 8th, the record, really impressed me because we have not seen Auburn in the tournament for quite some time. They've had a bit of an absence. Again, and like I said again, guys, 8 versus 9 is always a tricky matchup along with 5 versus 12, 9 times out of 10. So, Shorty, who you got and why?
Yes, this matchup, I have to think on it, but I'm picking Auburn for the upset, actually. So don't quote me on this, whether I get it wrong or right after the tournament. But, yeah, I'm going with Auburn for the upset.
All right, so Shorty's going with War Eagle on this one with the Auburn Tigers. CN, who you got and why?
It's the first time I've disagreed with you. This is a problem. St. John. St. John. Had to.
All right, so we got one-on-one here. Rap, what do you got to say?
Another one I had a problem with. I went with St. John, but now that I'm looking, I'm gonna keep it. I'm going with St. John's.
You're indecisive. I was this way too. KT, what do you got?
This one was actually a really close one. I picked St. John's, but I'm not even sure if that was the right decision. But we will see. I gotta stay with my decision, so I'm picking St. John's.
All right, so I think we've got St. John's ahead here. Eric, who you got and why?
I have Auburn for the upset. It's not really much of an upset if it's 9/8, but I think Auburn is just a bad matchup for St. John's. I think their pressure defense and their size inside is going to be a problem for them, and a team that greatly overachieved this year, I think, or maybe not overachieved, but exceeded expectations. Once again, playing in the SEC, I think is a big factor, and I think that'll give them the upper hand over St. John's.
All right, so I think we pretty much split here. I went with St. John's on this matchup. Shorty, moving on to the next one for the Dallas region. 5-seeded Florida State, 23-7, checking in against number 12-seeded Middle Tennessee, 24-8 on the season, playing their first-round matchup. Shorty, like I said, 5-12 is, again, like I will say through the remainder of the program coming up. The next 2 regions, again, it's a very interesting matchup because historically it has favored the 12 seeds, 8 to 9 times out of 10 in this one. Right now, I'm leaning towards Middle Tennessee, but who you got to say for yourself and why?
I'm going with Florida State.
You got 1-on-1 for this one. CN, what do you think?
Well, I took a little minute on this one. I wasn't 100% sure on this, but I went with Florida State.
All right, so 2 more for the Seminoles. Reagan, what do you got to say?
Florida State. No doubt about it. I don't really see this one being close. That's just me, though.
All right, so we got 3 in a row for Florida State. KT, what about you?
Even though Alicia Clark went to Middle Tennessee, I have to pick Florida State.
See, I had to think about Bay.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Florida State. Florida State. I would agree with Reagan. I don't think it's gonna be fairly close. So I'm gonna have to pick Florida State with that one.
All right, Eric. So you can, either keep me on a B. I can either be the man on the island, or you can join everyone else on the mainland. What do you got to say?
You are staying on the island because I'm going with Florida State.
All right, so no problem with that. So again, Middle Tennessee will play Florida State matchup 1. 4 versus 13, Shorty. Texas A&M number 4, 21-9 against 13-seeded Missouri State, 24-9 from the Missouri Valley Conference going forward. Obviously, Shorty, again, you see 4-13, and I think though that A&M really stepped their game up this year. I think that they were, they improved in a lot of areas, it looked like, when I saw them play on local television in their conference and across other assets of the game. What about you, Bill? Who you got and why?
I'm going with Texas A&M on this one.
All right, so we got A&M for 1. CN, how about you?
I disagree again. I decided to pick an upset here. I decided to go with it. Went with my gut, as Crystal says.
Praise emoji.
We're not having too much fun with going with our guts on this one. So we got someone there for Missouri State. Reagan, how about you?
I got Texas A&M. Who has Missouri State played? Wait.
They've
That's
lost.
a pretty good point with them being the Missouri Valley Conference. All right, so Crystal, how about you?
I am going to have to go with Texas A&M. I agree with Reagan. I'm not sure if Missouri State has played anybody that really makes me feel confident in them beating such a heavy team as Texas A&M.
All right, Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Crystal there. A&M just a really seasoned core. I think Missouri State hasn't really played anybody to convince me either, so I'm going with the safe bet here.
Yeah, I think all of us, and even I went with A&M on this one as well. Shorty moving away from this to the 6 versus 11. 6-seeded DePaul coming in at 25-8 on the year against 27-5. 11-seeded James Madison. An interesting matchup here. Two teams that are almost equally identical record-wise going forward. And again, DePaul has been there. Doug Bruce did an excellent job with that team when he's been coaching there for DePaul lately. James Madison, of course, has always been a perennial contender in the tournament sometime for the past few seasons. Interesting matchup. Who you got and why?
For this one, I'm going with DePaul.
So we got one for DePaul. Breezy, how about you?
We're back on the same page here, DePaul.
Two for DePaul. Rap, how about you?
It was a hard decision for me, but I went with DePaul.
All right, so there's 3 for DePaul. Crystal, how about you?
I gotta go with the home team, DePaul. I mean, it was hard. JMU is actually a really good team. I don't think they get enough credit, but I'm gonna go with DePaul. I'm gonna go with the Blue Devils.
4 for DePaul. Eric, how about you?
Make it 5.
And we can make it 6 then, because I'm going with DePaul as well in this matchup as well going forward. All right, Shorty to the 3-14, 25-7 Louisville will take on 14-seeded 28-3 Central Arkansas, who could be perhaps a wild card with that overall record, but obviously with Louisville being 3rd seeded as well in how they played amongst conference, this one will be an interesting matchup. But who you got and why?
I'm going with UL on this one.
All right, 1 for the Redbirds. Ian, how about you?
See, I'm telling you, we're back in sync because I did the same thing. Had to.
All right, 2 for Louisville. Rap, how about you?
I'm going with Louisville on this one.
While checking the hotel room door. Nice job. That's 3 of them for the Cards. Crystal, how about you?
I don't even know what just happened, but I would pick Louisville. Louisville.
Reagan's probably got room service coming. Okay, Eric, we got 4 for Louisville. How about you?
Yeah, I got to go with Louisville. There's really no reason to pick the upset for this, in my opinion.
And see, we're all on the same page here. See what happens when we work as a starting 6, guys? We got Louisville for this one as well, 3 versus 14. Showing that the final matchup for Dallas coming up 2 versus 15. Oregon State 28-4 against 15-seeded 20-12 Troy in this matchup. Obviously, Shorty, we saw Oregon State, pretty much light up the Pac-12 tournament and the Pac-12 conference with their play this year in the Northern Division this season. Obviously, if someone picks Troy in here, it's like, who would that be or why even bother? I'm going with the Beavers. What about you, though?
I think the only person that would pick Troy is Crystal, but yeah, I'm going with the Beavers.
Wow.
All right, so we got 2 early picks for Oregon State. Breezy, what do you got to say?
I picked Oregon State.
Wow.
There's 3 for the Beavers. Rap, how about you?
Your feelings hurt?
Okay, put up to number 4. So we got 4 there. Okay, Crystal, since you've been thrown on the bus here about you picking Detroit Trojans over the Oregon State Beavers, defend yourself. What do you have and why?
I picked the Oregon State Beavers. I can't believe Shorty would think I would stoop to that much of an upset level. I mean, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with Troy, but really? Really? Troy? If it was Creighton, I would have picked Creighton, but Troy?
Okay, no, we're just gonna halt it right there. Eric, what do you got to say for yourself and why?
Oregon State. Why not?
Yeah, no, why not indeed? So we all pick. Hey, I think that's 3 in a row that we all pick the same team. It sounds like so. We're looking good here. All right, guys, we'll move on now to the right side of your brackets, folks. Now to the Sioux Falls Regional and the other part of the region here with the 1 versus 16 South Carolina Gamecocks checking in 31-1 on the year against the 22-10 16 Jacksonville Dolphins in the first round matchup of that region. So obviously, Shorty, I know that we've seen that obviously the only roadblock all year for South Carolina for an unbeaten regular season was UConn, late in the year. So what are your thoughts about the opening first round matchup for them?
One word, blowout. The end.
All right, we got 1 for South Carolina. Breezy, what do you got?
I just wanted to say that was more than 1 word, but I'm going with South Carolina too.
Reagan, how about you?
The fact that their mascot is a dolphin makes them lose.
So 3 for the Gamecocks. Crystal, I think we know where you're going with this one because of a certain head coach on the sideline.
You already know. I'm picking Jacksonville. No, I'm just playing. I'm picking Dodge Staley and them Gamecocks, which just sounds so weird to say, Gamecocks. But I'm picking them. Yeah, South Carolina. I just lost my train of thought, but South Carolina.
Eric, how about you?
Definitely going with South Carolina in this one.
Everyone is going for South Carolina in this matchup. All right, Shorty, going back over now to the next one. 8 and 9 again, one of those other forks in the road for someone's bracket. 26 and 6 seeded and 8 seeded George Washington facing 18 and 12 and 9 seeded Kansas State out of the Big 12. Again, Shorty, could be a roadblock here for someone or anyone in this hangout or in the tournament challenge group for the prizes. What do you think, though, about this one and why?
This is a hard one for me because this could very well be an upset per se, but I ultimately went with George Washington.
All right, so we got 1 for George Washington. Cian, how about you?
I went back and forth. I clicked one, and I was like, no, I'm going to click the other one. No, I ended up going with Kansas State.
Ooh, so we got 1 and 1 right now. So we have 1 for George Washington, 1 for K-State. Reagan, how about you to break this tie for right now?
I flipped the coin, and I end up picking George Washington.
So we had a coin flip determine that one. All right, Crystal, how about you? K-State or George Washington?
I'm going to go with George Washington and Jonquel Jones for 300, Callan.
And again, I didn't realize I was Alex Trebek, Eric. What about you?
I didn't either. I'm going with George Washington.
All right, so we got George Washington for the most part over K-State. I believe CN picked K-State, so we'll go with that one. Shorty, next one coming up is 5 and 12 again, 22 and 8, Florida, against a team that Eric's good buddy Steve Rice from Women's Basketball Daily said would probably be a Cinderella run. 12-seeded Albany, 27 and 4, taking on the Florida Gators, 5 and 12. So, Shorty, this one I think is probably another roadblock too for this region. What do you think and why?
With this one, I ultimately went with Florida.
All right, 1 for Chomp Gators. CN, how about you?
Yep, I went with the Gators.
2 for the Gators. Reagan, how about you?
Ian just stole my little thing that I was going to do.
They can't see her, though. They can't see her. It's dark in her room.
3 for the Gators. How about you?
CN trying to get that freaky dicky light going on in there. I am going with the Florida Crocodiles. And yes, I know.
Okay, Eric, so what do you think? You got Florida or you have them facing, again, Albany, who, again, Steve Rice could probably be one of those teams that might pose a threat and pull off some type of upset. What do you think, though?
I could see his logic behind picking Albany, making a Cinderella run, but
nope.
I don't think so. I'm going with Florida, although I do think this region could be an upset potential region, so you never know.
And I think all of us in favor of the Gators here with this one, 5 and 12 for that matchup. Shorty, moving on to 4 versus 13, 25 and 7 Syracuse facing 29 and 2 Army at 13 seed in this region. So Shorty, I mean, those records look pretty deceiving between those two squads. Of course, Syracuse, a 4-seed. Army, better overall record, it looks like. Again, comparing notes here, again, 29-2 versus 25-7, but a 13 seed. But what do you think, though, and why about this matchup?
I am going with the Qs, Syracuse.
1 for the orange juice. What about you, CM?
I'm going with Syracuse too.
People will be drinking orange juice that day. How about you, Reagan?
Give me some OJ.
3 for the OJ people. At least the Syracuse orange, I should say. KT, how about you?
I'm actually going to switch it up and go with Army. I think Army will give Syracuse a good game. I think they're going to end up pulling it out. So I'm going to go with Army.
Yeah, and plus, again, like I said, Eric, those records, again, pretty deceiving. A 29-2 team, 13th in the region. But what about you, Qs or Army?
Yeah, the problem is with records, you can't really just go by that because, Army's playing in the Pacific, I believe, and that's not really what you would consider to be a powerhouse. I do think there's upset potential here, but I'm still going with Syracuse.
Yeah, I'll be drinking some Dole orange juice when this game's all said and done as well, in case it was wondering. Shorty 6-11 matchup in the Sioux Falls region, 24-9, 24-9, 6-seeded West Virginia, taking on 23-5, 11-seeded Princeton from the Ivy League, joining the tournament this year. So, Shorty, what do you think, though, of this one? Obviously, it's kind of fun to watch those Ivy League schools who, of course, get those automatic bids into the tournament. Of course, they don't have a conference tournament. So, again, it's more so regular season champion gets into the big dance on both ends of the floor. What do you think, though, and why?
I'm going with Princeton on this one.
Ooh, so 1 for the Friars. Breezy, how about you?
Yes. See, this is where we're supposed to be on the same page, man. Yes, I went with Princeton.
All right, so 2 for Princeton, 2 for the Ivy Leaguers. All right, Reagan, how about you?
It would be nice to see Princeton make some noise in the tournament again, but I think West Virginia got it.
All right, so we got 2-on-1 for this. Crystal, how about you?
I picked West Virginia. I think it's going to be a close game, though. But like Reagan said, it would be nice to see Princeton be dominant again, but I just don't see it happening this year.
All right, so then we got a tie, Eric, so it's up to you and me to break it. What do you got and why?
I got West Virginia, although this is another one where I think an upset could occur. West Virginia's just been really solid the whole season. They've got a good combination of size and athleticism on the perimeter, so I got to go with West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm going with you as well, man, because it's also conferences that they play in as well. Ivy League opposed to the conference West Virginia plays, so I'll take the Mountaineers in this one. Shorty, interesting one here a little bit. You got 3-seed Ohio State checking into the tournament 24-7 against a 20-13 ranked and record of Buffalo, 14th overall in the tournament and in this region. So obviously, Shorty, a hefty amount of losses for a team to get into the tournament like Buffalo did. In their conference as well, but of course Ohio State loaded with firepower as well in their conference. What do you think and why?
I'm going with Ohio State on this one. When Chelsea Mitchell gets hot, she can't be stopped. Ohio State.
All right, 1 for the Buckeyes. Breezy, how about you?
I went with them too, even though they looked like crap in the Big Ten tournament. I think they still just have a lot of firepower.
2 for the Buckeyes. Rap, how about you?
Ohio State.
Okay, there's 3 tic-tac-toe for Ohio State. KT, how about you?
I'm going with Ohio State. Sounds like somebody's getting murdered back somewhere over there, but I'm going with Ohio State.
All right, we got 4 for Ohio State. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, definitely Ohio State, and that murder is not happening on my end.
All right, so we all take Ohio State as I do as well to wrap up. Okay, guys, the interesting team in the dark horse and probably the team with, I think, a lot of problems on their hands, and we're still questioning how they even got in, I guess, guys. Number 7-seeded Tennessee at 7 this year with the record of 19-13 against a upset-prone 28-4 10-seed Green Bay. Shorty, sorry, I love the Lady Vols, but give me Green Bay. What about you?
I'm going with Tennessee on this one. I know there was a lot of talk about, their seeding and some people getting upset about it, but Tennessee is going to take this one. And the little confusion is on my end. Apologize. My little cousins are all over the place, but yeah, I'm going with Tennessee.
All right, so we're even right now, 1-1. Breezy, how about you?
All right, so I like Tennessee too, and I picked them. But honestly, it would not surprise me if they lost because, well, they're extremely inconsistent.
Okay, so that counts as a half. We have 1.5 and 1.5 right now. Both ways. Rap, how about you?
I'm going with a C, although they did not win 20 games this year, which is such a disappointment. But, I feel like once turning time starts, which is now, they'll get it together.
All right, so that's 2.5 to 1.5 for this right now. KT, what do you think and why?
Pierce College wasn't an option, so I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick Tennessee. I think it's gonna be close, but I think Tennessee's gonna pull it out.
All right, so Eric gets 3.5 to 1.5. What do you think and why?
I still don't really know how you got the half a vote in there, but I'm going with Tennessee. And also, I apologize. I said Army was in the Pacific League. I'm not sure where I got that. They're in the Patriot League. I regret the error.
Yeah, you were close. You had you had PL right, so we'll give you that one. And by the way, the half vote, Eric, came because CN said that she could pick Tennessee but could also see them losing, so that counts as a half vote. So I'm the man on the island again. I picked Green Bay to beat upset Tennessee because, as we said again, that record pretty tough. But like everyone else said, though, they could turn that light switch on and get hot during the course of the tournament. Shorty, the final matchup for round one, again, Arizona State 25-6, 2 seed versus 26-4, New Mexico State 15 seed. So again, obviously even records, but again, it more so depends on overall conference. Again, Pac-12 again up against the WAC, of course, as well in this one. I got the Sun Devils. What about you?
Yep, Pac-12, stronger conference, Arizona State.
All right, 2 from my uncle's alma mater. Cian, how about you?
Well, Breon January went here. She's one of my favorite point guards. She's my point guard. She's my twin. Had to go with Arizona State.
All right, that's 3 right now. Rap, how about you?
ASU.
All right, so we got 4 on board for the Pitchforks from Tempe. KT, what about you?
Even though these teams are pretty evenly matched, I'm going to have to go with ASU. They have more experience.
Yeah, experience plus conference versus conference as well. Eric, will you clean sweep and pick the Sun Devils, or are you going to go with the Aggies of New Mexico State? What do you got?
I'm going with the Sun Devils.
All right, so everyone sweeps, and we all pick the Forks from Tempe. I know this is Matt Hardy, folks, but this is also ASU, so yeah, I know. Shorty, the final region we'll get to before we kind of wrap things up for the evening and kind of get to more about the rest of March Madness and more about our contest we're running too. The final one for the night, of course, Shorty, is the Lexington region, which will, of course, begin play with Notre Dame 31-1, number 1 overall in that region against North Carolina A&T 19-11, 16th overall. All right, Shorty, what do you got?
I'm going with Notre Dame because Reagan said so.
That's Reagan said so. Good logic. See how
I went with Notre Dame because why wouldn't you pick them?
And we know Reagan already picked Notre Dame because she's a huge fan, so we'll just skip over here and go to Crystal. What about you?
I'm picking Notre Dame. But, Shorty, don't let Reagan persuade you. Pick NC State if you want to pick NC. Well, I'm picking Notre Dame. I mean.
And Eric, what about you, man? Notre Dame, or does NC A&T somehow upset the Fighting Irish?
I don't know where Crystal got NC State from.
Yeah,
but,
NC A&T. That's what I meant. A&T. Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going with Notre Dame.
And if I didn't pick Notre Dame, I would betray my Irish heritage. My mom would come in here and kill me. So I'm going to go with Notre Dame in this one going forward for those 2 reasons, as we just mentioned a little bit. Short again, another 8 versus 9, 21-9 Georgia, 20-11 Indiana, number 9 overall in this region again. Like I said, 8 and 9, like 5 and 12, like I'll say for the 4th time tonight, are always roadblocks and/or forks in the road for how everyone's bracket will be dictated by this season. What do you think, though, and why?
I'm going with Georgia on this one. I mean, they're a very tough defensive team, so I think their defense is going to pull them through first round.
All right, so we got 1 for the Bulldogs. Reezy, what do you got to say?
I have no faith in Indiana.
Only when summer comes, so you're going to go with Georgia. Raph, how about you?
Honestly, unlike everybody else, I had a hard time with this one. But I went with Georgia just because that's where my dad's from. So
Okay, that's good reasons. We got 3 on board right now for the Bulldogs. KT, what do you got to say?
I went with Georgia. Indiana, they give up too many points to the opposing team. So, and like Shorty said, Georgia plays really good defense, and I don't think Indiana can handle that. So I'm going with Georgia.
All right, Eric, what about you?
I agree with Reagan. Actually, this is a pretty tough one because Georgia would probably be the clearer favorite if Shakobia Barbie was not injured. But yeah, I think their defense is just going to be too much for Indiana to handle, so I'm going with the Bulldogs.
As much as Hoosiers is one of my favorite basketball movies of all time, folks, rough. I'll take Georgia over the Hoosiers in this one. Shorty, 5-12 here is Miami, Florida, 22-8 against 12-seeded South Dakota State, 26-6 from their conference in the tourney. Shorty, what you got to say, though? Obviously, Miami, Florida. Again, this is another one of those conference versus conferences about who they play and everything else included. What do you got to say, though?
This does have upset potential, but I'm ultimately going with Miami.
All right, so we got one for the Canes. Breezy, how about you?
I like the Jackrabbits mascot, but I went with Miami.
All right, so there's 2 for the Hurricanes. Raph, how about you?
are they really called the Jackrabbits?
Yeah, they are. They are.
God.
Did you make a selection?
Miami. I'm sorry.
No, she
All right, so we'll move on now. Crystal, how about you?
Miami.
All right, Eric, how about you? What do you got to say?
I mean, you've got like the Jackrabbits versus the Hurricanes. Like that's a pretty big mascot disparity. So definitely going with the Hurricanes.
So Eric is basing his pick based on mascot discrepancy between the difference between a
Yes, that is correct.
and a hurricane.
Yes.
Just give me the Scorpions. You don't know the folks. The famous Rocky Like a Hurricane. I'll take the Hurricanes in this one on for that reason. Going forward, Shorty, interesting matchup here. Stanford and San Francisco against just a little city rivalry here. You can kind of say Stanford coming in number 4, 24-7 out of the Pac-12. And San Francisco winners of the WCC, 21-11, 13th overall, upsetting co-champion USD, University of San Diego, in their opening round matchup in an overtime thriller. But again, Shorty, this is Pac-12 versus WCC. I'll take someone I know very well in their alma mater. What about you?
I'm going with Stanford, even though that's my team, and they have been inconsistent throughout the season, but at least they'll get out of the first round, so Stanford.
All right, 2 for the Nerds. Cian, how about you?
3 for the Nerds.
Raph, how about you?
I'm definitely gonna go with Stanford.
All right, there's 4 for the Walking and Talking Trees from the Bay Area. KT, how about you?
I'm going with Stanford, although because of Stanford's inconsistency, I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco upset them.
All right, Eric, now we have 4.5 against half here for this one. How about you?
Okay, with the halves. Yeah, as a tried and true nerd, through and through, I've got to go with Stanford.
You people out there know why I'm picking Stanford. We won't go there, though. But against Stanford and San Francisco, a little bit of a Bay Area rivalry going on for that matchup. Shorty, 6-11 matchup. Number 6, Oklahoma, 21-10. Number 11, Purdue, 20-11. So kind of like vice versa of record flipping for those two schools. Who you got?
For this one, I'm going with the upset, actually. I'm going with Purdue on this one. Just the gut feeling.
All right, so another gut feeling. So we got 1 vote for Purdue. Stian, how about you?
I mean, I'm from Indy. My mom graduated from Purdue, so I feel like I should pick them, but I didn't. I picked Oklahoma.
All right, so we got 1-1 right now between the Boilermakers and Boomer Sooners. Raph, how about you?
Oklahoma.
All right, 2-1, Oklahoma. Crystal, how about you?
It was tough, but I'm going with Oklahoma.
And Eric, how about you?
I agree it was tough, but I will also go with Oklahoma.
All right, so I think everyone but Shorty picked Boomer Sooners over Boilermakers in this matchup. So when we lose, Shorty, you can laugh at us all later. Moving on, Shorty, to 3-14. Number 3 seeded Kentucky, 23-7. 26-6, 14-seeded UNC Asheville qualifies for this year's tournament. Again, another one of those even kind of close records, but again, Shorty, once more, a conference balancing of schedules again. I got the Wildcats. How about you?
UK, too much for them. Going with UK.
2 for UK. That'd be the school, not the country, folks, in case you're wondering. Cian, how about you?
I went with UK as well.
3 for the Wildcats. Rap, how about you?
The only time I'll go for UK.
4-0. AP, how about you?
I'm going with Kentucky on this one.
And Eric, to sweep the board and play fast money for 20K. How about you?
Kentucky.
All right, so everyone's going to go, and we're going to go and play fast money now with Steve Harvey on Family Feud. So we all pick on this one. All right, Shorty, interesting matchup here. Number 7, Washington from the Pac-12, 22-10, qualified. Number 10 seed Penn, 24-4. Again, probably one of those fork-in-the-road matchups. I'm going with the Huskies for another reason I won't get to. How about you?
Yes, I'm going with Washington. I think in this game, Kelsey Plum will come out, and do her thing. So I'm going with Washington.
All right, so we got 2 for the Huskies from Seattle. Breezy, what do you got?
This took me a little bit to decide on, but I went with Washington.
All right, there's 3 for UW. How about you, Rap?
I went with Washington. They beat UCLA and they beat Stanford, so had to go with them.
Yeah, 2 pretty big wins on their resume for the tournament. Crystal, how about you?
I will go with Washington, but if he does that whole play my starters and not my bench thing, then I'm gonna go with Penn. If I picked Washington, but if that's his game plan, then he's definitely not winning.
Yeah.
And Eric, we saw that plan kind of go up in flames when they went that strategy in the conference tournament. Of course, they did not, get to the finals and they ended up losing, of course, early on. But what about you?
Yeah, I definitely don't like that strategy at all, and people will disagree fairly vehemently with me on that, but I'll go with Washington because this is the first game, so all starters can play 40 minutes and it won't be a big deal, right?
Yeah, it won't be a big deal. So again, we got everyone here in this one, even though Crystal's kind of on the fence in this one, but we all got Washington in some capacity going forward. Cian, we're going to go with you on this one to kind of mix it up for the last one we're going to get to because Shorty had some internet malfunction problems. Final one we'll get to tonight, guys, is number 2 seed Maryland, 30-3 overall in the season against 15-seeded Iona, 23-11. Cian, obviously, Maryland, has been in the top 5 in some capacity all season. So with them being 2, I think we all kind of said they would probably be that they might be one of those 1 or 2 seeds that may get upset sometime later in the tourney. But Cian, who do you have though, and why?
It ain't happening this round.
So
I picked them hands down.
All right, so hands down for Cian on Maryland. Shorty back in. How about you?
Can you please repeat the question?
Maryland, Iona, 2 versus 15. Who you got?
No, Maryland, no doubt.
All right, so we got 2 for the Terps. Rap, who do you got?
I'm going with the turtle.
Turtles, that's 3.
Turtle.
How about you?
I'm gonna do this as I do my crazy emoji heads. You already know. Look, I have Maryland. I have Maryland in my Final Four, so I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, jumping at the conclusions. We have one person already with Maryland in the Final Four. Ian, how about you?
Down.
Yeah, what she said.
I like that. Yeah, what she said. She points to the box. We're like this is ATH on ESPN. I also went with Maryland as well. All right, so guys, before we do move away and get to more about the contest coming up again for us, Shorty, who is in your Final Four picture?
I know a previous show I had some questions about Baylor, but then after the bracket, fully came out, I think I'm going to go with, all number 1 seeds as the Final Four. And as you know, the Final Four of the tournament, because I'm looking at the Baylor region, and actually, in my opinion, I think Notre Dame has the much more tougher region
Always.
than Baylor, because you know Notre Dame, you got Maryland, you got UK, you got others. Crap, I can't think right now. I have to ultimately look
You
at the
got
bracket, but
others.
you know, yes, others. So I actually think Notre Dame has the more tougher region than Baylor. You know, so but ultimately, I think all four number one seeds will be, you know, in the Final Four, with UConn winning it all, of course.
All right, so we got Shorty saying all four number ones get in. CN, how about yours? Frozen solid. So we'll come back to CN momentarily. Reagan, what do you got to say? Who you got?
Oh wait, there she is. There she is,
All
right
right,
It
there.
froze on me, sorry.
Okay. CN, we'll go back to you. So who you got? Go for it.
I got all four number ones in the Final Four with, I mean, I'm wearing a UConn hoodie. Why, of course they're winning.
All right, so we got two in now for all four number ones. Okay, Rap, how about you? You can go ahead and explain.
Make that 4. I mean, make that 3 for all 4 number ones.
Can't
All right,
count.
so we got 3 people on board.
You know what?
Crystal, how about you?
Okay, you know what? This was a really tough one for me because I like Notre Dame and I like Maryland, but unfortunately, I have Maryland beating Notre Dame. So my Final Four, I got Kim Mulkey and her shiny shoots. I got Gina Oriema, I got Don Staley, and I got Brenda Fries in my Final Four. And I agree with C, and I think UConn's probably going to take it away, even though I don't want them to. But I think UConn's got it.
All right, Eric. So now we've got Shorty, CN, and Rap all with all fours in. We've got Crystal with 3 of the 4 in.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
You know, I'm going to be boring as well and go with all 4 number ones. I try not to, believe it or not. I actually think Baylor and Notre Dame will have a tougher time getting there than people think. But at the end of the day, you know, it's the 4 best teams in the country, so I think they will all be in the Final Four, and with UConn taking it all.
Yeah, I'm with Crystal. I have UConn, South
UConn,
Carolina,
Notre Dame.
and Baylor in, but Maryland taking down Notre Dame, and with the Huskies winning their 4th straight women's basketball championship.
I got Notre Dame winning. Just saying.
I got UConn, South Carolina, Baylor, and Maryland in my Final Four, with UConn beating South Carolina for all the marbles this year for 2016. Now, again, folks, to a reminder again about the network, ESPN.com Tourney Challenge. Again, we just opened the group up earlier in the day, or actually last night we opened it up. Again, we've had about, I'd say, 6 or 7 people join. So again, for more information about how to enter or what is up for grabs for this year's tournament, again, log on to the website, WNBA365.wix.com/WNBA365. The first article you see from the blog section after you go to the site is explaining the rules and what is up for grabs for our tourney challenge this year again. So again, once you get onto ESPN.com, go underneath your fantasy tab on the drop-down menu and select Women's Tournament Challenge. Go to the group directory and type in WNBA 365 Network. And again, once you get in there, you can make your entry into the group. And again, top 5 people will be winning prizes for the bracket. Team, or the bracket that finishes 4th, 3rd, and 2nd will be taking home a pretty nice little set of Topps trading cards featuring our mugshots on there from the network. We may throw in a couple of actual cards from a couple seasons ago. And again, the grand prize winner, the number 1 bracket that does win again, does get 2 tickets on me to a WNBA game of your choice in the regular season. So for more on that, again, log on to the site, WNBA365.wix.com/WNBA365, and check out the check out that story again and join the fun. We've had a lot of people join. We you can compete against all 5 or 6 of us in the Hangout, and of course compete against other fans of the WNBA and women's basketball world. Guys, we get ready to wrap up for the night. Shorty, your final thoughts on tonight's show, and also your final thoughts on the overall bracket for 2016 March Madness.
Okay, first of all, my overall thoughts. I just want to say it was great having Ian on the network for the first time tonight. So welcome to. We're happy to have you, CN. But yeah, the
She
bracket,
froze again.
is going to be, oh well, yeah, well she'll hear it after the replay. But yeah, just the overall bracket. Like I said, regardless of who got upset about who didn't get in or who got in or whatever the case may be. It's just going to be overall another interesting, fun tourney until the championship game where we already know the result of that. But other than that, it's just going to be fun.
Now, Cian, obviously you have been a viewer, you've been a great Twitter follower of all of us in the network, you've been a great supporter for us as well. And obviously the time change from the West Coast to the East Coast just does not let you come on here. Plus you are a pretty busy coach yourself with AAU as well going on in the Indianapolis area. But I guess give us your overall thoughts, though, on your first appearance on the network, and can you join us over the summer, perhaps, and be a little part-time correspondent for us? Go ahead and do so.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. Crystal is fried. Fried is
people don't know what that means. That means crazy.
She's just fried. Yes, I'm sorry. That's indie language there. But it was fun, and definitely summertime will be a little bit slower. So I could probably do that, and I have third row seats for the Fever this season, so I'll probably have some pretty awesome stories. I plan on meeting a lot of people, so.
And Cian, not only that as well, I do understand that you're also starting up or you have started a blog site as well where you're going to ask for some opinions or I guess some thoughts from Crystal, but I will also afterwards kind of give you a few things that I would love to give you about my experience with the game. Go ahead and
yes.
advertise your product. Go ahead and do so.
Yeah, so you got, follow me, of course, PT_Coach Ransom, but also follow my blog at Bench Talk Blog. I just tell stories about my kids. I've been coaching for 10 years, and obviously I don't use their names because they're kids, but I coach some absolutely hilarious individuals, and the stories that I have, I find them hilarious. These kids are just too funny, and I think AAU is going to provide even more stories. So, and if you have anything you want to share about playing basketball, any sport really, shoot it my way, and I'll definitely put it on the blog.
Yeah, and I'll definitely be sure to send a few dimes your way coming up very shortly once we're all said and done here going forward. And hey guys, maybe even when we get our Instagram account, maybe we'll have CN take over our account for the network as well coming up next month, and you can have a good old time from Bankers Life Fieldhouse with a little IG takeover. Reagan, I guess, though, your overall thoughts, like Shorty, though, about the entire, about the bracket and filling it out, and also, of course, your overall thoughts about March Madness for the year.
It wasn't, I don't know what everyone, why everyone thinks it was so great to have CN on the show. Anyways, no, love the girl to death. Today's show was pretty wild. Honestly, I think Crystal had a little bit too much caffeine. But
no sleep.
Filling out the bracket today after plane ride and then a 2-hour ride to the hotel because Chicago's traffic is
retarded.
But filling out the bracket. It was pretty hard for me just because I haven't watched much basketball or as much basketball as I would like to. But just because I think most of these teams are evenly matched, no matter the rank. I think everyone has a chance, not an even chance, but has that push, I guess, to beat any other team. So it was challenging for me.
And Reagan, something completely off the beat that's irrelevant tonight. Go Sky Blue FC for the NWSL season. I'm just going to throw that there to you for right now. Crystal, how about your overall thoughts, though, about March Madness for the year and everything else in regards to what we discussed tonight, of course, getting everyone's thoughts on the first round matchups and everything else included. What do you got?
I think it's cool to see what you guys picked on your brackets.
Wow. The
I think it's
shade.
interesting.
Just stop.
I think it's interesting though to see what everybody's mind is on different teams and you know where they think everybody else is going to win. And I also agree with Reagan. It wasn't awesome having Sion on the show. I hope she never comes back. No, it was cool having Sion. I would love to have Sion back. It was awesome having her on the show. And like I said, I think it's just cool to see what everybody's different pick is on different teams. Like, you know, I thought that was a good thing. Everybody's mind. I mean, for the most part, we kind of had some of the same teams, but we were different. And I think it's cool to see everybody's different positions on each team and each bracket.
And, you know, Eric, you know, obviously, you know, we've already brought up about filling it out. You know, I've been filling out these brackets since I was in elementary school, for heaven's sakes. You know, you know, like I say, I eat, sleep, and breathe, you know, all sports of every stature and every nature. You know, and seeing an empty bracket and then looking over all the numbers and trying to pick someone, of course, is always, you know, this is my favorite time of the year is March Madness. One of my favorite times, you know, the next one that comes close enough to me, in my case at least, is when Major League Baseball starts their long spring and summer season. Hey, sir, your overall thoughts on the entire show again? You know, we got to have 6 different opinions tonight, where last year we had my opinion and one very, very brief and stale and boring from the co-host last year. What do you think, Eric, about how we ran tonight's show? Obviously, you know, 100 times better than last year, but also, again, getting everyone's insight and thoughts about certain matchups, though.
I like tonight's show, despite Crystal, you know, calling us losers. That's not really. I don't really like that, because before the show, you know, Cian can back me up on this.
Oh my goodness.
Crystal was kind of on the struggle bus as to who she was going to pick for basically everything. That was a clutch move right there too. That wasn't me, but.
What did I get muted for? I didn't say anything.
Just in case you wanted to. No, it's all good. It's all in good fun. We're all friends here for the most part, so.
Not me.
Nothing wrong with not Reagan. Nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, right?
Why can't we be friends? Well, of course, folks. I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, without these people, you know, guys, I mean, really, folks, without the people that we had in here tonight, again, 6 different opinions that he had on each matchup this evening, and again, 100 times better than last year, because it would have been me and another person. You know, it would have been done in like 25 minutes. But here we got a chance to really break things down, you know, by record and get everyone's take on each matchup, whether it was very short, very brief, or very long and extended. But again, for more info, again, folks, on the Tourney Challenge, again, and for all the prizes and all that other nonsense, again, visit the site WNBA365.wix.com/WNBA365. And Reagan is hoping that Chicago can beat Sky Blue FC whenever they play each other for the NWSL season sometime very soon. But that's off the record, folks. We'll have more about that later. But, of course, folks, also ship one out to 1 month from today. We will have our Draft Day special, of course, WNBA Draft 2016 being held this day next month, April 14th, 4 o'clock p.m. on ESPN. And then rounds 2 and 3 will be on ESPNU following that this year as well. And again, we'll have our Draft Day recap show following that as well at 9 o'clock PDT. And plenty more where that came from. But until then, folks, while we're ahead up until tomorrow night, back here again with either all of us or some of us back in this hangout. But at least till tomorrow night, folks, for Eric Nemchuk in Elmhurst, Illinois, for Reagan Patrick visiting Illinois in Chicago, and of course for the new kid on the block, but of course a great job done by CN Ransom from Indianapolis, Indiana, and for those 3 folks out here in Southern California, Crystal Thomas, Anthony Stewart up in Los Angeles, Cal McClurg signing off from Studio 171 in San Diego. Up until tomorrow night, folks, enjoy March Madness, have fun with those brackets involved with the Tourney Challenge, and we'll see you folks back here tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll have some more WNBA free agency news to bring you along with more for March Madness. Till tomorrow night, folks, see you then. Bye-bye.